to still continue with the safe lane Mars, but like we're saying, I see a lot of use case for it this game. I'm just wondering, has Miracle played Mars recently? That's what I'm curious about, or at least in competitive. It's a really good point, yeah, so that'd be surprising. Okay, he's only played Mars actually 20 days ago. It looks like they played in some cup called the Golden Age with Neon and Udvest on team. So 1-1 lost one there, but he actually picked it up twice. And looking at the build, I see one build that's a little bit more carry focused here. That's actually pretty interesting. Like it was a 48-minute game, but he ended up going Satanic, Crystallis, BKB, Overwhelming Blink, and Refresher, which is still pretty much par for the course as far as most Mars, with the exception of that Satanic and Crystallis, I suppose. Being a little bit more out of the ordinary, but should be a fun one here. It looks like he has an idea with this. They've picked it before. This is very much an idea that they have. That's exciting. Okay, and that's what I mean. That's one of the things I was really looking forward to when I was spectating Drinkwater, now Myth Avenue Gaming, for their open and closed qualifiers runs. Is they do very clearly think about Dota in a certain way. We'll see, however, if it'll work out for them. That's true, but I will counter by saying, you know, when SMG kind of goes more full out on these kind of drafts, you know, like with the Coddle off lane giving you sustain, and then I think they picked like a Bristle carry and some other really fast sieging mid laner, maybe like an NP was in the mix there somewhere. I might be misremembering the exact hero roster, but it looks good. It looks good because... Right, but they didn't build them to scale in those particular matchups, right? Which was what was impressive to me. Like, I agreed, those heroes can scale, but what I'm saying is because I think you can kind of use that logic and play against it a bit, where many people will start saying, well, these games are going to go so late, I don't have to be worried about this early death ball. They still build to scale. All of a sudden, you're sieging their high ground at 20 minutes in, and they're not ready. They'll be ready in 10, 15 minutes, but they're not ready then. I don't know if this draft is quite as fast as that, to be honest. But I do like when... I've been impressed by Myth Avenue Gaming going for these very specific timings together in their opens and closed runs. Granted, against, you know, weaker opponents. However, we'll start to see now if they're going to continue playing with those ideas in Div 2. First opponent here, Team Flow. Right. You're right. And even though, you know, one more note on this SF, you can see just how much Myth Avenue Gaming are struggling because they're already pulling the wave. Darkseer, not a phenomenal laner, especially early versus the SF. Once you get a couple more points, maybe even level 5 with that 3rd point in Ion Shell, you might be able to threaten him a little bit more with just the overwhelming damage of a couple of Ion Shells and maybe a little cheeky vacuum. But before then, like, he just does not care about you. You need levels on Zeal real bad, so they're already pulling the wave and doing some good work here. Skipping the wave, I suppose, is more accurate. Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point. Lightning Storm's been like really mega buffed lately. It's been one small reason why this hero has been so good is because they increased the lightning strikes a while ago, and then everyone realized Bloodstone was busted, and then we went to Singapore for TI. happen, right? So this build is extremely good now these days. You don't generally tend to see usually a single point of edict, I want to say, before level 6. Right. That's true. Yeah, I might even argue for top lane as well, considering how difficult to start this Grid Mother is going to have. And you have a Mars, right? Mars Morana at that. That's surprising. And again, this is not very standard on Lesh these days, so... Yeah, he's a tanky lad. I've been looking at his builds, well, on the 2 games he does play the carry Mars, and it's usually been double Bracer into also Falcon Blade in lanes that have been difficult for him is what I'm seeing. So, does expect to I'll take a bit of throwback, but Miracle is still going to die top.
First blood. What is
Good vacuum.
I came here to be tested.
So, you don't mind if I do.
Uh-oh. Yeah, really good vacuum there once again. Forced movement interrupts rebound, which is why they got to fight a little bit longer, but they just couldn't focus onto the Marcy. He will live. Anime girls over pointy-headed men, unfortunately. But some good harass here, forcing the SF to miss some CS under tower. And top lane, Miracle just getting a little bit too aggressive. Never mind having insatiable hunger up again, so of course he was itching for a fight and ended up finding one fairly easily. Mid lane, we also saw 2 people rotate on over. However, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Exilorn still managed to snag up 1 water refill for himself on that model. Bottom though, Trasm. Rebound off of. So just the dispose onto the Walrus. Ion Shell at least out of range now, but Zeal quickly closing the gap. Level 1 vacuum. That's good enough for the kill. Gets it with a punch as well. They gave it like a ton of damage. It didn't used to have this much damage either by level 1. Yeah, they get it cool there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 3 points in it. So this is very, very out of the ordinary. Bottom, they might try for Seal. Ooh, nice triple raise combo here, but they need a little bit more. This seems... Oh!
I am the snowball from Gobo.
Yeah, I really wish Zeal just waited a bit longer. You can see he's level 5 now, but he wasn't level 5 when he started that kill attempt. Although they kind of went on him, to be honest. But still, it seems like he had time to disengage, and he was pretty close to level 5. Just needed really like 1 more wave of experience, and that's a huge power spike for the Darkseer. Especially because like the damage goes up by 20, but really it goes up by 40 per second for 140 magic damage per second when you consider it'll also be applied to the Tusk. So... you know, that's why you usually want to wait for these kind of big power spikes in your side lane, as your side laners. Unfortunately, just decided to go a bit recklessly, but, you know, aggressively, we'll call it. Got the kill at the end, so you can be happy with that, at least. Yeah.
That one hurt.
And mid lane, Exilorn now with his points in Pulse Nova will start clearing these waves. The only thing this really forces is it forces Mercury to not rotate away from mid, right? This is like the old style of Lesh, back when his skills weren't so, I don't want to say imbalanced, but like, you know, now there's clearly a better build, I would say, which is why we don't see this one so much. Back in the day when Lesh was just like a decent pick, especially against like illusion-based heroes, you would see this kind of decision where it was like, well, do I want to dominate my lane with Lightning Storm and be able to rotate, or do I want to go Edict and punish the enemy mid when they rotate away? Unfortunately, like you're saying, when the other enemy team does a really good job kind of shutting down your lane, it makes this build part of me feel really bad. So he is very much on the struggle bus right now. See, especially as the Ember rotates away for free into the jungle. Maybe they were trying to catch him from in a big stack, but there's actually none there. Yeah, there was only single stacks.
Are fortified.
Bottom.
Wow! The rune of haste.
They're killing. Yep. They also catch the Mirana. We caught that one off screen. Yeah, I'm not really sure why they feel the need to go so aggressively there in that, especially in that bottom lane. I feel like that's just a lane where you wait for level 6, which again we're so close to, and then you just drop a wall of replica on top of that stuff and just dive in and kill him. Either he uses raises on the illusion, or he's just too slow when you kill him. Miracle in the top lane.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Tower.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Yeah, I mean it's been looking pretty difficult for them for now. I mean, we'll see how they can look to adjust. I mean, there's Wall of Replica finally into the vacuum, looking for an arrow and a Starstorm, and they have it. I mean, and that's all they needed to wait for. You know, that's why I was so surprised. I felt the same way as well about them going for that kill earlier before they had level 5 on Darkseer. You know, or maybe a +1 here for free.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh,
Dire's
yeah,
middle
the
tower
edict.
is under attack.
Bad.
Radiant
Exilern.
structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They are. This is also a, well, I guess actually I don't know what you want to go against the Broodmother as a Lush. I guess just Pulse Nova to deal with it. I guess Diabolic Leader is super annoying with the Spiderlings absorbing them, as they will get a free kill there onto the bottom. That's RR going down. Trying to rotate to maybe defend the tower, but Miracle's here? Okay, certainly there's TPs this time, right?
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Once again, no
Dire's middle tower is
TPs.
under attack.
So stuck up.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, they'll get the
Middle
tower as well. I'm shocked. You know, you have a carry Mars. I figure you want to fight around him a little bit. That seems like a perfect opportunity. I mean, I guess once the arena is used, it becomes a little bit less tantalizing, but still, no rotations. Yeah, I don't think that, yeah, exactly, gives you the right to completely ignore this guy. I mean, he is still, quote-unquote, your carry. I mean, he's got some utility. And I guess my question is, okay, Myth Avenue, if you don't think his utility is now, when will you fight around him? Ever? Oh.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yep. Got it. That's RR, by the way. Or Vincenzo. But that's a... He does. He really does, yeah. But yeah. I don't know. And then you could see at the end, Miracle TP's in because he's like, guys, I have arena in 5 more seconds. And then they just run away from him. This game is definitely spiraling out of control. I mean... I'm not really sure what this Mars was meant to do this game if it wasn't bespoke to counter the Brood lane, which fair enough, it kind of did, right? Like the timings on Brood are a little bit delayed, but this pipe's still going to come out at a very respectable timing here. Kishka, searched up, looking for the snowball. Doesn't have the vision though, out of range. At least they'll clear the Spiderling army. That's something, but smoking to kill spiders never is too effective. Unless it's a really big spider. You need to steel yourself before you take it down.
It's gonna be a massacre!
Careful. Just be dead here.
You wicked son.
Yeah, I really don't know what this, why they drafted this Mars is. I mean, it doesn't really look like they're too sure either, to be honest with you. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's just space creation for Exilern, but why? Exilern, like he'll farm. You know what I mean? Like you could have given him almost any other safe laner deal. Well, of course, broodmothers don't care about icicles. Yeah, exactly. So I would rather have, I don't know, a Wraith King, or maybe even a carry Abba, who's much harder to kill, right? If that was the point. I don't know. Yeah, he's balling.
Radiant are scanning.
Very easily killed. I think the game plan was more to eventually revolve around Lesh being able to take these 2 towers and then rotating and making plays like this. Unfortunately, they're going to be caught out by the Sentry, which makes this basically a non-starter. Miracle's coming over. It has only phase boots, no blink dagger, so you know, he's not quite the catch they're looking for. It felt like this kind of play, even though it was off the back of a death you just took on RR, was kind of what they had in mind, especially with Lesh going for maxed Edict, you know, having a Mars that can frontline and play very aggressively on the enemy side of the map, very much like a Broodmother does. You know, that seems a little bit more reasonable, but the fact that they're starting to do this so late into the game, especially after SF has gotten the luxury of farming his own jungle for like 5 extra minutes, doesn't feel so good. SF's pretty big. In fact, he is big. He's the richest hero in the game. Oh, they've missed the kill onto the Ember down bottom. Vacuum into Walrus Punch.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Got it.
Yeah.
Dire are
For
scanning.
this build in another game, let me just something.
You had no patience. Dire's top
Okay,
tower is under
interesting.
attack.
Yeah, the last time. Wait, this was Miracle. Okay, so the last time that Miracle played Mars, he like literally played it as the
Dire's
offlaner,
structures
but it was
are
still on Myth
fortified.
Avenue Gaming with this same roster. He
Dire's
just
top
played it as the
tower is
offlaner,
under
which, by the
attack.
way, sometimes this team does, because of course that was his most recent position anyway.
Radiant's
Which
bottom tower
explains
is
the
under
build a little
attack.
bit better. Then they go into Kishka. That's an easy kill for them.
Burn away your ignorance.
Quick D-ward at the very least for Myth Avenue Gaming. Yeah, because the other
Radiant's
2
bottom
cores in the
tower is
game
under
when they
attack.
picked this were an NP and Alina, who, of course, are very hard carries this meta. So this is a really curious draft. Maybe it fell apart a little bit for them, but their path back into this game is going to have to be around this Lush Bloodstone. I guess this Mars BKB, which is still 2,000 gold away, and you do at least have a pretty darn good aura now online for Zeal with that full Guardian Greaves. So it's something that they have some items. They might just get a free kill onto Miracle top lane if they're not careful here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Shadow.
Behold my searing gaze.
Dire's top tower is falling. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, just farming. And he's almost got a full BKB now. This is, one's looking pretty hard, honestly, Avo. I don't know if they can realistically get back into this game. Unless they go for some really crazy dives here on Team Flow, don't see them very likely getting, you know, giving Myth Avenue Gaming a big chance back in this game. Oh, okay, cool. Miracle actually bought out for a blink. I thought he was saving for BKB. Had it in the quick buy, had 2,000 gold in the bank, instead went for the blink dagger. Okay, maybe this is what allows him to get back into the game. It's really risky though, because if his next couple of blink arenas don't do anything, then I feel like he basically does nothing this entire game, unfortunately.
What a bounty!
Nope, I was on cooldown. It was on cooldown. Yeah, his second skill was definitely on cooldown. I was watching him. He rebounded in initially and missed.
Okay. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Either way, don't get the kill. Not too big a deal. They're just going to take Roche. Could be an opportunity to reinitiate, but I don't know. Without Darkseer Wall of Replica, I don't think they're going to be feeling too bold to go into the kill here. And they won't. That also it also dies so quickly. Pulse Noble level 2. Presence of the Dark Lord there. Yeah,
Radiant's
wow.
middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Allies disappear.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Muhammad Ali.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
It is good for footing. He's a bit of a boxer as well, I guess, with that normal punch.
Has fallen.
Always struck me as a more mixed martial art kind of guy, but
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Just because he doesn't have gloves on, right? He uses his bare fist. That is true. That is true. He would also probably make fun of them if, for example, Darkseer made a proprietary drink that wasn't that good, and then people refused to drink it. He would probably punch them as well, wouldn't he? And then call them like a non-pointy-headed slur. He's kind of an asshole, isn't he, this Darkseer? Yeah. Unknown. And an Aegis.
Yeah. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, I mean that's something at least for them, right? It's they get rid of Aegis, they hold on to all the buildings on their high ground, which is pretty scary because SF has hit level 15, has taken presence effects of buildings, which is of course usually when he starts really sieging very effectively, basically a free deso. Him, right? Yeah, 7 armor. Yeah, that's a deso right there. Oh, not bad at all. BKB soon. I mean, this Broodmother is gonna start feeling like she falls off a little bit. Mostly useful for her auras. But herself as a hero is mostly going to be just for vision and breaking smoke ganks and being annoying. So at least she's maybe starting to kind of sunset a bit more on her usefulness. But I'm just still dubious of what Miracle's supposed to do now as this game approaches the 30-minute mark. And this Blink Dagger hasn't been the worst item for him, but you know, still still the poorest core in the game, right? And I really don't see that changing anytime soon. whatever that'll keep him alive. I mean, he's gone for his core auras now, right? Anything that he gets next should just increase his survivability so he can get his auras off in these fights, right? That's fine. BKB as well for the Ember Spirit into the Ag Scepter next. He's going aggressive though. His smoke breaks. He'll find Kichka.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle barracks are under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, especially without Aegis, right? I mean, once again, Team Flow, that they scale better this game. They already have a pretty nice lead. They're not feeling too pressured. You know, they'll go for some kills like this if Myth Avenue Gaming leave their high ground and presents an opportunity. But actually pushing into the high ground is still a bit scary, right? No shard yet on Miracle. You know, he's really actually quite still penny pinching here, pretty much. He really needs to be... get this BKB online, man. You know, everyone else here, like especially with this Ag Shard now on Exilern, it's super annoying, right? Trying to push in the high ground. You've got Darkseer as well, Mars, who's always a threat for a spear back. Like, it's really not worth the risk, in my opinion, to go up to high ground this boldly. You just wait for next Roach, take this out of tower, right? Force some TPs back, get out of there. Like, you can still lose this game. Like, the team fight is not to be underestimated, I'd say, by Myth Avenue Gaming.
Radiant's top tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That should help.
Zoo almost has Ag Scepter. I don't know if that's really the comeback item here, this normal punch, but it is more lockdown that you can use to chain stun someone before they hopefully get off a BKB. I think right now... yeah, right now you have 2 9-second BKBs, right? Which I think is the biggest concern, because BKBs are down. Like, obviously, Lesh isn't doing any damage, and then the question is, well, then who is?
Invisibility.
Yeah. I think it could definitely be some sort of second initiation kind of item, right? Where your Miracle finds a spear. Like this.
Strike down.
Backing wall, onto 4. Stolen immediately. Yep. Also unknown to Myth Avenue Gaming that time was the stolen wall of Replica. That was a little bit annoying actually for this Lush, because he just kept spawning illusions of himself and then killing it, and then spawning illusions of himself and then killing it, and it was just illusions tanking a little bit of damage. Didn't really end up making too big of a difference. But that's one of the strengths here of this pointy-headed Darkseer. This guy's actually pretty darn tanky, isn't he? Kind of survives against 4, gets off that vacuum wall, sets up enough, you know, of a distraction to allow the rest of the team to dispatch of the Marcy and then go on in and basically win that fight. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Mark my grave. It remains. Don't look at me. It's your own damn fault.
Dire's courier has
Yep.
been killed.
Free kill for him. He'll take it.
Dire's middle barracks
Double
are under
BKB is
attack.
packing quite a punch here for Myth Avenue Gaming, but I still think this game's really darn hard for them. Let's be realistic. I think they need to just continue riding this wave of momentum if they want to try and really get themselves back into this game. It's only a 6K net worth lead, but again, really think Miracle's going to start really struggling here to find relevance in this game, especially because he kind of needs to save for buyback. So he really only has like, you know, 1,000 gold in the bank right now, 1,500 for the buy. Yeah, but I think there's only so much more that Zeal can do to carry these fights, honestly. I think this is really a temporary respite, and you can see, I think, Myth Avenue Gaming quite wisely not willing to fight into all those TPs incoming. Especially with Roche upcoming. Like, I really think Team Flow still have quite a big advantage here. This SF continuing to pile on the items, right? Nearly at a full silver edge now. He's a bit more for that. Marcy even approaching the BKB. Never mind another 600 gold and he'll have his. Blink Dagger on Rubik's been allowing him to steal basically whatever spell he wants, as well as the telekinesis getting people over the shards. And just no opportunity here to contest this Roshan by the looks of things from Myth Avenue Gaming. But we'll be back on the high ground, and their high ground defense is still real darn good, but I don't know, against an Aegis now, we need to get a really good spear back in order to enable these fights.
All in service to balance.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Maybe they had to buy back on this Tusk, and this is what I mean. I think if they can continue riding this wave, they're in a pretty good spot. So kudos to them for finding the pickoff and being able to do it. They did expend BKB here on the Leshrac, and that was a fight with an Arcane Rune. So we'll see how much more they really want to push this. For now, the answer is yes. Tier 2 is going to be crumbling. Down it goes.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
What surge is this?
Yeah, I'd agree. See how they continue to try and manage this, though, especially with this Aegis. I think it's still a pretty big moment for them. Who took Shard? Probably Mercury took Shard, if I had to guess. Possibly could have bought it. Yeah, probably him, considering it's only him and Rubik bought his. Of course, second Roche fell. So he's got a good Blink Dagger Canceller now with that item online. Will make Miracle's game a little bit harder to play here. He's the only one. Oh, now Zeal as well with a Blink Dagger being delivered. So two potential Blink Daggers, a little bit harder to get off now. We'll see, actually, as Team Flow do end up smoking for a fight. For Myth Avenue Gaming, 2 out of position. Zeal would be a really good catch. I think they just caught him on that ward, actually. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. Did he take the talents for it? He has taken the talents for them. So that would do something. Really like that level 3 wall as well. Pretty close to level 18. A tough heal refresher as well for Miracle. They are getting these items online. It just feels so fragile, this lineup, especially with no one having buyback on this, well, in the entire lobby, actually, not even just with having Gaming. Making this play very bold from the Ember.
Never refuse good given.
Yeah, pretty bold call to fight that from Flo. I mean, very lucky the Ember gets away. To be honest, the thing that messed up the chain stun there was Zeal's normal punched the Ember out of the arrow, and then he tried to vacuum him back into the arrow, but he was a little bit too slow, actually. Otherwise, they have that kill onto Ember. He gets off his BKB because he's not chain stun, though. Okay. Good fight, though. Trazyn's just going for a walk here. He will die. CZY tanking the second arena, and he'll go down as well. That might be game. He does not have buyback. Clearly wasn't expecting this game to be going in this direction. Neither was I, if I'm honest with you. Gaming, they've fought themselves back into that game. That one triangle fight they took, and it's been just all myth since then.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Looking for a free kill. That's a dieback. Too long penalty. Team Flo really struggling from knowing when they need to stop in these fights. Those last two deaths, I think, are unfortunately ones that cost them heavily in this kind of a game, right? Especially when buybacks are basically one of the biggest resources at this stage. You know, not going for the kill, sure, but immediately committing for that and going even further is, I think, something that they're going to have to learn to shake rather quickly. Otherwise, I think they're going to really struggle against many of the other opponents here in Div 2. Bold shot calling from them. Nice couple of pickoffs there, and they barely once again managed to get Mercury out of that what looked to be like certain death at last second.
Dire are
But
scanning.
they do have to be a bit careful here. This game's still very much in a fine balance.
The prize is mine.
Requiems have never done anything, I feel like, this game at all, to be honest. I think that's a little bit of an underutilized tool as far as a counter initiation. I know that Sessup's really scared of the Zeal Darks here, and for good reason, as we've seen this game. But I don't think he needs to be that scared of him. So, like, he's just never really threatened this ability. It's also really good at Lesh. If you manage to hit him with that Fear as soon as he activates Bloodstone, you know, he basically gets nothing out from that item in the fight. I think that spell could be used a lot more efficiently. This Marcy now, Trazyn has BKB, has been kind of just going in 2v5 for the 2 times I've seen it used. So I think that could be a little bit better as well. Overall, I just don't think they're really team fighting together much. It's like Mercury trying to 1v5. SF is a little bit too, like, skirting around these fights, being a little bit too scared of Darkseer, you know. Broodmother, I mean, she's done as much as she can this game, in my opinion, right? But she's usually part of that 2v5 with Trazyn I brought up. I don't know. I feel like they're not really truly fighting together, whereas Smith Avenue Gaming certainly are, right? They're still looking to hit their combos. Every single time you see a stun, you see an arrow immediately dispatched from RR, right? Like, that's the kind of team play I think that Flo are really lacking right now in these fights. like Ags. Yeah. Ags is fun. I'm glad she's building it. That spinner is snare. Ask TP's bottom because they picked up Tusk here on a ward. There's a scythe on Lesh. Okay, now Myth Avenue Gaming. Very restrained. See, I feel like in that kind of an instance, Team Flow probably would have kept diving, right? If they were the ones, if they were Team Myth Avenue Gaming, they probably keep trying to fight that, or at least Trasm and Nevermind try and fight that, and the rest of the team doesn't. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a big difference in the caliber of, I don't know who's the shot calling or anything like that, but it looks quite night and day here. Ever since like 25 minutes. Now the items are really coming online. Miracle starting to really tank up, going for his overwhelming blink now after the refresher. Morana even now with a full Lotus Orb. And that's going to be a second scythe. Not really anytime soon for Zeal. He still needs like 4,000 gold, the two expensive components, but he'll get there. Once again, Unknown buying out here for Eye of Scotty. See if that's the move for him here as they look for a fight.
Dire's courier has been killed.
A gem? Who's got this gem? What did they see up there? Oh, right, because they've got another sentry there and then the lingering vision after they die. Wow, that's a... Okay, I was surprised he farmed Spinner Snare that fast, but it is no buyback available. Very good. Refresh, Miracle's in. Oh no!
Of course.
I gotta be honest with you. Oh. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, like, that's not the Requiem you want to go for. I mean, that was the aftershocks, if you call it, from Split Earth that actually caught him, and he was still trying to Requiem to do that. And then, of course, he got hit by the clown car of stuns that Darkseer has, and into just more chain stuns, and then he just dies in that fight, honestly. A strong use of the buybacks there from Myth Avenue Gaming. They just barely managed to farm it up ahead of time. Ember does have buyback, but he'd be basically alone in this fight. And it'll be third Roshan here. What's he carrying? I didn't quite catch it. Oh, an Axe Blessing for Exilin. Okay, Nihilism's pretty darn good this game.
Radiant's
Same thing
top
for Marcy.
tower is under attack.
Marcy can't hit you. Do you see what I mean? Where like Trasm and Nevermind, they just have like a blood pact. You know, we must fight at all times. Yeah, but you didn't. I mean, the fact that they go in there, dude, they just took Roshan, brother. They're all 5 alive. You don't have an Ember. You don't have an SF. You know? Didn't seem like a very valuable fight for them to take. Fortunately, Myth Avenue Gaming were like, what is going on? This Marcy, it's like, you know, it's like when you're at the dog park and you have like your, I don't know, you've got like your big German Shepherd, right? And then there's like a little tiny Maltese dog that's like yapping away, and your German Shepherd's like, what are you doing? What? You, brother in Christ, we don't take these fights. And she is very strong, but not strong enough to get kills like that, clearly, right? She was winning the fight, but, I mean, as soon as BKB's up, like, she just dies. And that's... Okay. BKB's ready again. This Penta Edge Sword is doing her a lot of good, though. I kept hearing that MAME builds, the MAME sound, which we used to only hear on the what's it called? Well, old Sanj, right? But now it's on the wolves. The wolves have that noise as well, from Lycan, and which is why I got into the mood of doing the the dog bark analogy. Me neither. Although it was really interesting because yesterday, I'm pretty sure Team Atlantis banned it. Yeah. Of course. So I was looking forward to seeing it because it wasn't banned in the last draft we ended up having. I wanted to see why they thought it was good, and unfortunately we didn't get to see it.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant's courier has been killed.
Yeah, it's those ranged auto attacks. I mean, this refresher will help for that second BKB, but he's still going to be playing from behind the 8-ball for quite a bit. Fifth Avenue Gaming, farming up now, farming the whole map. They still have this Aegis quite safely on the Lesh, who did have to buy back in that last fight, remember? Which is why they're a little bit more timid, perhaps, at pushing up too carelessly for the high ground. Mercury just taking outpost here. Extremely bold of him. Pick up a couple of neutrals. Witchbane, is that really crucial for anything here? Not really. Nothing you really have silences, nothing like that you're dispelling. Wouldn't be surprised if that getting picked up. By the way, I am surprised that Zeal has not yet purchased the shard. I'm seeing every other Darkseer spammer buy this shard. Not quite first item, but pretty quickly. He's just ignored it. I mean, that's fair, but he still has the Void Stone chilling and the Cloak chilling. Like, that's almost 1,400 gold right there, you know? Right, but he started building Scythe and then went back for BKB instead, right? So it's like that's kind of wasted gold in that sense. The Cloak, I guess, is just fine, right? No. Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's fine. I mean, it's an imperfect build, you know? We allow those. I think it shows willingness to change right under pressure, so I'm not going to be upset by that, but hold on. I might be upset if Mercury dies here. Very good timing, but a very bad death for him. I can't believe he was that willing to he was so trusting of the Ascetic Scout. I mean, it's not an Aeon disc. I mean, still, though, like, he's farming near a dead tier 1 tower, you know, against a Tusk who's got 2 forms of stun again. Like, very bold, I have to say, to assume that he was going to be completely alone there. He just kind of ignored him, pretended like he wasn't there. Extremely bold play. They do get Zeal, though. That's pretty good. That's a good trade. Oh, and maybe even Kishka, who just is casually snowballing, farming a wave. Very good. He died to farm a wave, unfortunately. Is he really close to an item? Not really. I guess, yeah, I guess. He would need to do that to 1 more wave, and then I think he has it, right? Tough game for the solo kills, unfortunately. Team Flow released back into the world, however, as this Aegis has expired. A small window where Exilern does not have buyback, but very quickly closing in the next 15 seconds. It's underneath a ward, however, but Team Flow are going to be backing up. They don't want to leave anything to risk. And there's also a gem for RR. Had that for a while. Almost a full Vlad's ready to be purchased as well by RR. This is always the fun part of the game. Hey, what's Nevermind been up to ever since he's got an Acceptor? Farming up a Nullifier. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Especially if Piggy is glowing. Especially if Piggy uses Bloodstone. That's, Yeah. Probably. 20% evasion, 20% magic resist as well, thanks to the Trickster's Cloak. He's level 28 on this Lesh. Is about to get 400 more HP, by the way. That 39 talent. I didn't know Lesh had that one. Pretty nice for him. Basically already 6-slotted as well. I guess he can get rid of maybe the... I guess he kind of really wants these bots, though. I don't know. I think he's pretty much 6-slotted. Do you see any other item that Exilern might actually purchase here? Do you see any other item that the Slush would... Like, can he sacrifice any of these items in his inventory to pick up another one? A refresher? I mean, but then you... I guess, right? Yeah, but then you don't have your move speed on your bots. Like, I feel like unlike most other heroes in the game, like Lesh really likes this move speed. He really benefits from that quite a bit. Okay, yeah, I could see that. And now you have 20 strength anyway, so like, what's the point? Although, I don't know. I feel like this this spell lifesteal amp 22%. That you'd be losing a fair amount of that if it's just an E-blade. I feel. Okay, that's true.
Shadows take us.
Man, this is like a crazy Lesh. Oh, the vacuum whiffed! Oh, he hit a Requiem! But he's just standing there menacingly. Could be. He's just flexing. Like, the kids call that a flex these days. That was incredible. Zeal normal punched that Ember Spirit out of the frickin' telekinesis. Did you see that? That was amazing. Oh man, that was incredible. He was like, "Get back here, you stupid remnant of fire!"
Got it.
Punched him out of the sky. Ugh. Dude, if that's what anime is like, he punches people out of the sky. I think I have to start watching it. That's incredible. If it's just stupid fun like this, I'm into it. I mean, these fights not making a lot of sense right now. Both teams are it's like, you know what they're doing? It's like they're playing these team fights like it's a turn-based RTS, you know? They're like, I use Requiem. Oh, But you see what I mean? It's like...
Thousand of your kind have fallen before me.
They kicked them. Okay. I think so. I think they're gonna take this Roche, 5th Roche, I believe, 4th Roche, I believe, actually. First time we've seen Refresher Shard, pardon me, which makes them 4th. Another free Acceptor for them. Tusk just bought his. I think everyone, I guess Mars can buy his. Moran, maybe? Who would you rather get? This is still, yeah, the Bulwark, right? Okay. I mean, maybe it's better this thing. No, me carry. Me carry. That's our favorite. Me carry. It's some damage. Yes, which was really stupid before. When Amar got black holed in ESL 1 Genting and then killed the Enigma. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So, yeah, that's a pretty good change in my opinion. Although, I will say that's a little bit unfair. Mars, the god of war, even while stunned, cannot fight back with his summoned soldiers. However, Monkey King, who is just a smart monkey, can, because he just... He is a smart monkey. Oh, that could be. Oh, you're telling me Sun Wukong didn't have the yellow raincoat and then pick something up? Oh, yeah, probably right. 2-slider fish charge, just trying to keep him at bay. All right, Oliver, another one over the average for us here. Yep. It could be. We'll see if we ever get out of this one.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
You got the agents, by the way. Oh, you reflect the snowball?
I'm up for a rematch.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Oh
boy. We will be spared an hour-long game, but only just slightly because Team Flow are not going to call GG. Okay, there it is.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Victory.
Look at all those medals back there.
Under attack.
Alright, yeah, I mean... That was, I'm surprised, honestly, how that game turned out.